Michael Bakayoko. My account is 01826.
Thank you for banking with us.
It's my first time to bank. Could I ask how safe is my money? Or maybe I should just continue with my mattress banking. I think I should go back.
How are you, Mr. Bakayoko? How may I help you this time?
Well, I have come back to confirm the safety of my money. The one that I deposited earlier today.
Oh, I guess you haven't banked with us for some time. Now listen, whenever you deposit your money, be rest assured of its safety because you're a responsible bank, which is a member of the KDIC. See that sticker there?
KDIC?
KDIC is mandated by law to provide insurance for your deposits.
Now I know. No more mattress banking.
Be sure. Check out for a KDIC sticker in your banking hall. KDIC, protecting your deposits.
Virusi vya korona huenea unapokaribiana na mtu aliyeambukizwa kupitia matone, haswa wakati anapokohoa au kupiga chafya, na pia kwa kugusa sehemu au vifaa vilivyo na virusi hivi. Ukihisi dalili kama vile kupandwa na joto, kikohozi, maumivu mwilini na ugumu wa kupumua, na unashuku ulikaribiana na mwadhiriwa, jitenge kisha piga nambari 719 ili upate usaidizi. Mtu yeyote anaishi na maradhi sugu kama vile virusi vya HIV, kifua kikuu, saratani na mengineo anashauriwa kutumia dawa zake jinsi alivyoshauriwa na daktari bila kukosa. Komesha korona. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na serikali ya Kenya.
Good evening, welcome to Prime Edition. I am Cynthia Nyamai. Now, we've been following up a story for you when it comes to the IEBC interviews, and it seems like sometimes the past does catch up with you. That is the main story that we have today. And in sports,
well, a lot has been happening in the world of sports. Last night we had England beating Denmark to earn qualification to the finals, the Euro 2020, where they set take on Italy on Sunday, the last day. But we'll be having more of that, all the details, as well as other sports updates later on. See you then.
Thank you, Munga, for that. It's so good to have you back. I will still be holding fort for the business desk. And National Treasury has threatened to cut off money from state corporations if they are found to be draining public coffers. That story and much more coming up. But first, let's have the highlights. Second day of IEBC new commissioners interviews and 2017 general election malpractices comes back to haunt one of the applicants. National Treasury reveals parastatals with weakened financial muscles. And Kenya Media Fraternity mourning Hilary Boniface Mweno, a journalist par excellence. Welcome back. Our sign interpreter is Lucy Mwaura, and we would like to hear from you. Send us your feedback. Our Twitter handle is KBC Channel 1, and you could also send me your feedback on my handle, Cynthia Nyamai. Now, to the election malpractices that were witnessed in 2017, today came to haunt Dr. Catherine Kamindo when she appeared before the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission selection panel on Thursday at the Kenyatta International Convention Center. Dr. Kamindo was the head of the tallying team at the Bomas of Kenya during the last polls and was hard-pressed to explain what really transpired and how she will deal with such cases if they emerge in the near future. Caroline Njeri Nganga and Cecilia Ngoni also were interviewed by the IEBC selection panel led by the chairperson, Elizabeth Muli.
Appearing before the IEBC selection panel, Dr. Catherine Kamindo, a PhD degree holder in education policy and management and who served as a coordinator at the Bomas Tallying Center during the last general election, had an uphill task to explain why the court found significant electoral irregularities that warranted the nullification of the presidential poll.
It's actually affected by factors that may be beyond the commission. For instance, there was the question of some polling stations that did not manage to transmit.
She also had a difficult time to explain to the selection panel whether the Secretariat or the Commission has the powers and jurisdiction to determine county boundaries.
Let me just help you. I'm asking about county boundaries.
Yes.
County boundaries, which also coincide with constituency boundaries.
The county boundaries are not a mandate of the commission because they are administrative boundaries.
Whose mandate is it?
The county, it's the mandate of
Caroline Njeri Nganga, a finance and management practitioner, was next on the hot seat and gave proposals on how IEBC should deal with corruption and manage voter registration in the diaspora.
That some of the resources that are used to put clerks in stations where Kenyans are required to come and register as voters, maybe we can readjust that expenditure and have mass voter registration happening at other intervals other than just before the election.
Cecilia Ngoyoni, a Constitution and Legislative Affairs Director in the Office of the President, was the third candidate to be interviewed on Thursday. She said she will promote separation of powers to avoid conflict of interest between the Commission and the Secretariat.
Have conflict of interest, more so conflict of interest of the majority tribes. So I believe that, and this is my personal opinion, that IBC needs a lot of neutrality and that the presence of minority communities is by itself a stabilizing factor in IBC.
On Friday, Dr. Dina Jeruto Kepkebut, Omore Osendo and Felix Useru Nyauchi will face the IBC selection panel.
A female police officer suspected to have killed a colleague in Nakuru and another man in Ruiru, Kiambu County early this week is still at large. Detectives have already launched a manhunt for the killer cop as they warn members of the public to be on the lookout for the fugitive officer who is said to possess 2 loaded firearms.
In a fact-finding mission, detectives visited this Dedamax hotel in Ruiru, Kiambu County, where Corporal Caroline Kagongo, the suspect behind the killing of a colleague in Nakuru, is said to have shot yet another man in cold blood.
We compile our evidence so that the evidence can praise you to the scene and to the offense.
This is where Corporal Kagongo allegedly spent the night with Peter Ndwiga, whose lifeless body was found in the hotel room.
Wakaoda lunch, wakakula lunch, na wakakaa. Finally kitu saa 9:20 waka clear bill zao, tukaacha by saa 9:20 hivi saa 10 wakatoka.
The whereabouts of the killer cop is still unknown, with police saying that they are following a promising lead.
I cannot say about Kangogo right now, but of course we know there is an incident that is touching on Kangogo in Nakuru, and I think the officers in Nakuru, they are also doing their own investigation.
Police have already released pictures of the suspect to the public for easy identification as they appeal to the public on the lookout given the lady cop is armed.
Our case in Juja, we are also appealing to the members of public. If they are able to identify, because there are some pictures already that we have run and they are even on the DCI Twitter, that can help us to identify the identity of this woman.
That's a story that we'll definitely follow up for you. Now to politics, where Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi has decried the desperate levels reached by Kenyans in an effort to survive in an economy where many are struggling to put food on their table. Mudavadi is now urging professional bodies in the country to intervene in key policy areas that concern the Kenyan economy.
Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi says professional bodies have a role to play in ensuring that Kenya's economy improves for the better. Mudavadi says government programs such as afforestation are now under threat after Treasury introduced taxes on basic household items.
As we talk about the economy, your voices and your interventions and in key areas where you can influence policy should not be allowed to pass. You should come in and help.
Elsewhere, Machakos County Governor Dr. Alfred Mutua and his Nyandarua counterpart Francis Kimemia have called on leaders and Kenyans to embrace tolerance and unity of purpose ahead of the forthcoming 2022 general election.
It is important for us to have a country whereby parties and politics are made out of ideology, not personalities. We want ideologically sound parties. We want ideologically sound leadership that has a focus on improving the welfare of our people.
We want to have people who have a vision for this country. We now must shift Vision 2030 to Vision maybe 2050 and start strategizing this country and look at our youth, see whether how we can be able to harness resources for the youth of this country.
Finally, UDA and Jubilee parties have expressed confidence with the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission ahead of the Kiambaa constituency and Muguga ward by-elections slated for July 15th, 2021. Speaking in Kagongo village when meeting Kikuyu elders, Mathira MP Rigathi Gachagua urged the Inspector General of Police not to over-deploy police officers to the two regions.
The IBC has assured us that it is impartial and we shall have free and fair nomination, and we have no reason to doubt them. All we do is we ask the government not to over-deploy policemen who can cause tension the way they did in Rurie and Juja.
The government has deployed more children protection officers to the counties to ensure the rights of minors are safeguarded as enshrined in the law. Labour and Social Services Cabinet Secretary Simon Chelgei says each constituency in the country now has children protection officers, a departure from the past where one official served a county. Made the remarks at the end of a two-day stakeholders conference organized by Interfaith Council and attended by over 300 delegates from across the country.
Set strict timelines within which cases of violation of children's rights are handled to prevent elongated trauma of the victims. We recommend that each case should be concluded within 6 months.
The government has taken action and employed 290 children officers, 1 child officer per constituency, and additional 50 children officers who are supporting the hotspots counties and even in our National Coordination Center. You realize also that we are coming up with a desk with the DCI.
Well, it's time for us to take our break, but when we come back, I will be sharing some of the latest COVID numbers in the country.
Please deposit this money into my account real quick.
May I know your account, please?
Michael Bakayoko. My account is 01826.
Thank you for banking with us.
It's my first time to bank. Could I ask how safe is my money? Or maybe I should just continue with my mattress banking. I think I should go back.
How are you, Mr. Bakayoko? How may I help you this time?
Well, I have come back to confirm the safety of my money. The one that I deposited earlier today.
Oh, I guess you haven't banked with us for some time. Now listen, whenever you deposit your money, be rest assured of its safety because you're a responsible bank, which is a member of the KDIC. See that sticker there?
KDIC?
KDIC is mandated by law to provide insurance for your deposits.
Now I know. No more mattress banking.
Be sure. Check out for a KDIC sticker in your banking hall. KDIC, protecting your deposits.
Nissan Serena ndio hii. Na unaweza kuwa wewe ndio tunapikia simu. Kodi ya Nissan Serena ni NS. Alafu kisha kwenye amount ni 50 bob. Hii Nissan Serena tunakupatia na shilingi 50.
Kujiunga na QuickBid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio hununua. QuickBid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Baada ya miaka 19, kivumbi cha mashindano ya dunia ya Safari Rally kimerejea nchini Kenya kama alivyoahidi Rais Uhuru Kenyatta. Wiki hii kwenye Project 254
tunajivunia si kama vijana na wale wenye wanatambua kudrive, at least serikali imetutambua.
Hizi mbio za Safari Rally naziona ziko sawa kwa kuwa zime boost kazi yetu kulingana na mapato yetu ya kila siku.
Hiyo vumbi ndio pesa. Yes, hiyo vumbi ikuje hivi ndio pesa sasa inakuja. Tunashukuru sana kwa hiyo vumbi.
Ijumaa saa 2:30 jioni kwenye
What is he saying? Relax though, relax.
Hey. Mkilia hapa kwenye koti hapana kushikana.
Hey, cool down, man.
Mlijuana na yeye at what time?
Mtoto amekaa miaka 10 yote.
You see, you don't even know.
Kijui?
Yes, because you are a Tom and Jerry.
Nimekutisona. I don't know you anymore.
Nani nilisomesha wewe kuanzia primary?
Ilikuwa Harambee.
Secondary.
Harambee.
Natoa ngoja mimi na laani yake jana. Wewe mzee. Wacha mimi sawa. Wacha mzee, wacha kutoa nguo.
Welcome back. We are glad that you're still here with us. Now for the COVID update, where the country has recorded 566 positive cases out of a sample size of 5,344 tested in the last 24 hours. The total confirmed positive cases now stands at 187,525, with cumulative tests conducted so far totaling to 2,786,000. Patients have succumbed to the disease, 1 in the last 24 hours, while 10 recorded as late deaths. Total fatalities now stand at 3,716. On a positive note, 1,934 patients have recovered from the disease, 1,693 from the home-based care and isolation program, while 241 are from various health facilities countrywide. 7 people have been confirmed dead and several injured in separate road accidents along the Nairobi-Nakuru highway. 5 of the victims died in multiple car accidents at Nyamai area on the Nairobi-Nakuru highway, while 2 others perished after their boda motorcycle was hit by a lorry at the Nairobi-Maihahu road. More of this in our county news wrap.
This is the aftermath of an early morning grisly accident at Nyambari area along the Nairobi-Nakuru highway. 5 dead while 6 others are nursing serious injuries at Kijabe Mission Hospital. According to eyewitnesses, the lorry is reported to have been overtaking a private Nissan before the driver lost control.
Sasa vile lori imejaribu kuovertake ikawa haiwezi maliza kuovertake kabla wakutana na hii Nissan. Then sasa ndio ikafika wakati narudi upande wa ishika line yake ikakuta imeniguza upande wa nyuma, upande wa dereva, then ikaguza hiyo Nissan ilikuwa ikipanda upande wa mbele, upande wa dereva.
In Kakamega County, a Masinde Muliro University Don has been found dead at his residence in Lurambi Estate in Kakamega Town. The lifeless body of Professor Ezekiel Kasiera was found in his room by his domestic worker earlier today.
Vile niliamuka nikaona choo imechafuka nikatengeneza, lakini usiku wote amekoa sana.
Meanwhile, worshippers at Moringa and Gaitheri ACK churches in Murang'a Parish are still in shock after unknown people broke into the church buildings and made away with music equipment and other electronics worth thousands of shillings.
Jana asubuhi tuliamkia tukakuta kanisa imefunjwa na kuna vitu zimeimbiwa na hatujajua kabisa ni akina nani. Juu tumeibiwa parukia yote, parishi hii iko na Gaitheri na Moringa, na wamebeba vitu nyingi za dhamani 300,000.
Elsewhere, a family in Liki village in Nanyuki County is seeking the intervention of local Kikuyu elders in order to cut down a mogumo tree in their farm to allow them develop the land. The family is worried that cutting down the sacred tree might welcome calamities to family.
Mti inaitwa mogumo tulikuta hapa tukikuja, na mwenye hii nyumba anahofia kuwa ina crack nyumba yake.
And 22 Eritreans, among them 8 men and 14 women, have been arraigned before a Maralal court in Samburu County for being in Kenya illegally. Finally, youths offering car washing services at Tiony Soet River along Nyagacho Road in the outskirts of Kericho County have accused the county government of plans to evict them without offering alternative place to conduct their work.
Sasa wakati huu mgumu wa corona, kwamba unaweza kuja nafikiria kwamba ukuje ufukuze mtu ambaye anatafuta kazi yake. Kwa hivyo tunawapatia onyo kwamba wasikuje hapa.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has joined the media fraternity in mourning veteran journalist Hilary Boniface Ngweno, who passed on Wednesday. In his message of condolence, the president describes the deceased as a distinguished Kenyan whose contribution to the growth of the country's media industry shall be remembered for generations to come. Here now is the episode Death of a Media Icon. Well, that story is going to definitely come up later. Let's catch up now with business, where the National Treasury could cut off funding to some of the state corporations that have been struggling to stay afloat because they are draining public coffers. National Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani says a survey carried on a sample of 18 out of the total 260 state corporations revealed that the 18 parastatals face a financial shortfall shortfall of 70 billion shillings annually. Yatani has told state corporations to reform and restructure operations as well as seal revenue leakages to minimize financial reliance on the exchequer.
There are about 260 state corporations in Kenya offering economic and social development services to the benefit of citizens. However, the 2013 Presidential Task Force report on parastatus established that the financial performance and operation efficiency of the most of the state parastatus has been deteriorating in recent years, forcing the government to allocate them cash from the exchequer to remain afloat. National Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani says a survey carried out on a sample of 14 state corporations revealed that they face a liquidity gap of about 382 billion shillings over the next 5 years. He says this is affecting the national budget. Yatani cites Kenya Airways, in which the government has a 48.9% stake, that received 28 billion shillings in the last financial year to meet the carrier's liquidity needs and debt obligations. To address this, he says the National Treasury is working with the state corporations to reform and restructure the operations, seal revenue leakages in efforts to minimize or altogether cut off their financial dependency on the government.
You may want to know that KBC is heavily indebted. It has to do with the staff rationalization. You may want to know that our wage bill consumes 72% of our budget. And when you put that again in context, you realize in the larger public service, the wage bill is in the vicinity of 48%. So these are matters that we must deal with.
Yatani says unprofitable state corporations pose high risk to the government due to the large debts they owe as well as the repayment risks. He says the National Treasury is reviewing the business models and operating environment as well as improving performance, monitoring of individual state corporations with a view of proposing solutions. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Well, for risk takers, this is a story for you. Now, erratic weather patterns, air safety risks, and passenger anxiety make hot air ballooning a fit for the brave, especially as a business venture. In this week's edition of The Enterprise, our reporter Regina Manyara delves highlights on the hot air ballooning safari experience that is fast gaining traction in Kenya as demand for the service grows from those keen on doing safari to places that are not accessible by tour vehicles.
Flying a hot air balloon takes science, nature, and zeal.
We like it that way. There are no doors in this balloon. The reason we like that is because doors have a tendency to open and we want those closed, right? Okay. So we have Cynthia here. He is showing you the proper landing position. Handles to hold on. Put your back and your head against the wall.
Hot air balloon safaris are mainly conducted during early morning hours, for they majorly rely on a theory that hot air rises. As the sun rises, so does the air rise, making it possible for liftoff. However, keeping the balloon up in the air requires more than just hot air and wind direction. Yes, aviation navigation skills come in handy. The view from above is breathtaking, one of the reasons that hot air balloon safaris are gaining traction.
Recently, tourists are coming to the U.S. coming from the U.S. not just to see animals. You can go to the zoo to see an animal, right? They want to see how people live and the interactions between animals.
For Barry McKingle of Kilimanjaro Balloon Safaris, his investment in balloon safaris was inspired by his wife's narration of how scenic Kenya was during her first visit to the country in 1991, and to date remains his single most favorite destination.
Most Kenyans need to realize the tide is turning on the pandemic. People have suffered and suffered so much for the last year to year and a half. But as other parts of the world are recovering, their businesses are taking off and they're getting better and they're picking up steam. I know in our business in Canada we've seen some changes and improvement. I think it's important to realize it's not going to be quick, but soon the people will start coming. The international tourists will start coming, the jobs will be coming back, the opportunities will be coming back, and remember, when they come, We've all got to get together. We've got to provide a great product. We've got to show them the magic of Kenya, how special it is to come here. Most people will never see or experience this in their life, but those that do, we want them to go home and tell everybody they can, so they'll come and visit us. No different than when we do a balloon safari.
Being relatively a new concept, hot air balloon safaris are yet to be fully embraced by domestic tourists, but that has not held back Barry's dream.
It's because we're all in this together. We're trying to build our businesses. And if anything, the pandemic has showed that nothing in life is for free, and hard times come, and when times are tough, we've got to work together. We've got to take care of each other. We've got to work positively to the future. And of course, we don't fly to the south and we don't cross the border, so we don't cross into Tanzania, but we've become friends with all of the people in our community.
Plans are underway to put up a hot air balloon training school, the first of its kind in sub-Saharan Africa.
We have plans to introduce a balloon pilot training school. Currently, if a Kenyan if anybody on the continent of Africa wants to get a balloon pilot license and fly balloons or fly commercially, they need to travel to Europe or perhaps North America. In Kenya currently there's 3 or 4 pilots, Kenyan pilots. We think there's a great opportunity for Kenyans to become balloon pilots, so we've started the process, and we think it'll take us till next year, but we think it'll be successful, and we actually hope that we'll have people come from across the continent right here to the Amboseli in Kenya to train to be a balloon pilot, rather than going to Europe, rather than going to North America. I want them coming to Amboseli and training with us.
Well, word of advice when flying a hot air balloon. For the ladies, mind your hair. And you might not always have a smooth landing as we did. You might also land upside down, so hold on. But once done, tradition demands that you toss to a glass of champagne.
Well, hot air ballooning is slowly catching on, and it is available here in Kenya, and even the locals have jumped onto the bandwagon. Going forward, we're expecting more companies to come, especially to the Amboseli National Reserve that is widely known for its unique features, especially the elephants. I'm Regina Manyara reporting for KBC.
Thank you, Regina, for that report. I guess they say the higher the risk, the higher the returns, or in this case, the higher the thrill. We will be taking a short break, but don't go too far away, because when we come back, we have a report about Kenya's first editor-in-chief, Hilary Ngweno, and we will have various journalists celebrating his life. Coming up shortly.
If you have been in contact with someone who is suspected or has tested positive for COVID-19, self-quarantine for 14 days and call 7194 for help. Self-quarantine restricts movement and the spread of the disease and protects your family, friends, and community from being infected. During self-quarantine, you are advised to stay in a separate room, disinfect surfaces and clothing with appropriate disinfectant, avoid sharing household items, including utensils, towels, and beddings, do not receive visitors, wear an appropriate face mask if you must be around other people. COVID-19 is preventable. Protect yourself, family, and the community. This message has been brought to you by the Government of Kenya and its partners.
Shooter, are you ready?
This week on Zurura, boys and their toys.
Tunaenda out of town.
Get to learn the benefits and beauty of running your own home garden.
That is so cool and pretty.
Demystifying fishing as an elitist sport and something anyone can do, including you.
So, shake, move.
Yeah. Woo! That's all coming right up on Zurura. Find your adventure, only on KBC.
Austin, though. Here's Odus. Oh, what a huge kick! What a huge kick! And Austin crashed into the inverted top rope. Rolling Hurricane Rana spells the end of the best match that Ace Austin has competed in here in MLW. But the winner, the Lucha sensation, Ray Odus.
I am Avalanche.
Welcome back. I am Cynthia Nyamai. Now to more business news. If you are a member of a pension scheme whose savings cannot fully cover the cost of buying a house or deposit for a mortgage, you need not to worry. The Cooperative Bank of Kenya, in partnership with the Annual Financial Services Limited, has launched a pension-backed mortgage loan facility targeting pension scheme members whose 40% of their pension benefits cannot fully cover the cost of buying a house, by offering them the difference.
The private sector is now looking to complement government efforts in housing Kenyans. The latest is Cooperative Bank of that has partnered with Annual Financial Services Limited to roll out a pension-backed mortgage loan facility targeting members of pension schemes. The new facility targets over 3 million members of pension schemes in Kenya, especially those who would otherwise have found it difficult to raise enough funds to qualify for a mortgage. It is anchored on the recent changes to the Retirement Benefits Mortgage Loans Act, Regulations Amendment 2020, that now allows members of pension schemes to utilize up to 40% of the accrued pension benefits as down payment to buy a home. This facility is targeted at pension scheme members whose 40% of the pension benefits cannot cover the full cost of buying a house. In those circumstances, a member will approach the bank to access a credit facility to cover the difference, said Director Corporate Institutional Banking at Coop Bank, Jacqueline Waithaka. The deal allows a pension scheme member to purchase developed property anywhere in Kenya with a ready title deed or certificate of lease. Beneficiaries under the facility will enjoy an extended repayment period of up to 20 years, subject to the retirement age of the borrower.
High and growing demand for groundnuts has seen Kenya increase the import bill of the legend to more than 1 billion shillings annually. Low acreage under groundnuts and poor quality seeds are among factors blamed for low production. To boost production, an initiative has been started in the counties of Taita Taveta and Elgeyo Marakwet for the production of high quality production seeds.
Elgeyo Marakwet is classified as a semi-arid area, which limits options that farmers in the area can undertake. Motivated by high demand for groundnuts, farmers in Elgeyo Marakwet County are slowly but steadily substituting acreage that was previously under maize with growing of high-quality groundnut seeds, which they say and the more, and cropping is done twice or thrice a year.
Kilimo biashara ambayo mimi nafanya ni mambo ya kupanda njugu, nikipuna niuze mpaka saa hii ndio mimi naendelea na hiyo mambo ya njugu.
Farmers here are growing new groundnut variety imported from Zambia. They say with the new high-yielding variety, farmers harvest up to 3,000 kilos per hectare, up 4 times from 700 tons per hectare from the traditional recycled varieties.
Tangu siku hiyo tukaendelea kulima, tukauza hiyo njugu, tukapata milioni 3, kwa sababu serikali yetu ya kaunti walikuwa wakimulika sisi, wakasema nyinyi mmejaribu, kwa sababu hiyo pesa ambaye umepata mukasane mupate milioni 6 kwa next year. Tukapanda.
Farmers in Elgeyo Marakwet grow 2 sub-variety from Zambia. One has a large seed and the other has smaller grain. The large seed variety retails at about 127 shillings per kilo, while the smaller seeded nut sells at an average of 55 shillings per kilo.
So we have released some very good varieties of seed. We have 2 varieties. One called Mwangaza, and another will go to Dofu.
Elsewhere in Taita Taveta, which is also classified as a semi-arid area, farmers are also embracing groundnut farming. We sought to find out what informed their decision.
Hiyo njugu nilipouza imenisaidia, manake kitu cha kwanza afya yangu. Nilisikia nina nguvu, hata kuna shimo nilikuwa nikichimba la kuweza kuhifadhi maji, basi nilijisikia nina nguvu ya kutosha. Nikarudi tena kwa timbo, nikang'ang'ana na hiyo shimo mpaka nikatoboa.
Farmers in both counties are contracted by Egerton University to produce high quality seed varieties that are also drought and disease resistant.
Hii kama Ndovu inachukua 3 months. Egerton University Groundnut 1 inachukua 4 months na ile ingine inaitwa Mwangaza the same. Ndovu na Mwangaza inachukua 4 months. Iko na big ponds. Sema moja ni red in color, hii ingine ni ile ya kutengeneza peanut butter.
To reduce cases of aflatoxin contamination, farmers have established aggregation centers for selling surplus produce.
Hiyo ni hot cake. Groundnut hata mtu asipokuja kuchukua unakuta tu gari imekuja hapo kwako. Inatafutwa kama almasi.
Last year, Kenya exported nuts worth 110 million shillings, with Philippines accounting for 50% of the shipment. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
The Kenya Wildlife Services is encouraging communities to establish small community-owned parks to help build a more inclusive hospitality industry. Paul Wambi, the Paul Warden at Kisite Mpunguti Marine Park, says the idea, which is key in stimulating interest in tourism activities, has been taken up by communities at the South Coast who are now reaping from the investment. Kisite is one of the areas in Kenya that promises you an up-close view of dolphins. This area 1.5 years ago was filled with activity, and they saw close to 2,000 visitors every month. But after COVID-19, everything came to a standstill. We're here to find out what are some of the lessons that the tourism industry has learned after COVID-19, and are there new strategies bearing fruit and attracting visitors. Hoteliers estimate that COVID-19 will cost Kenya in excess of 150 billion shillings in tourism earnings and about 3 million jobs.
With the COVID-19, there were and there still are a lot of travel restrictions. And of course, because of COVID-19, also people are no longer, traveling as they used to. So definitely in terms of visitation, we are affected. At one point, the country was closed. And so even in terms of domestic tourism, we were affected. And because of that, even the revenues have actually been affected.
The painful losses have forced the tourism sector to go back to the drawing board and come up with new strategies and embrace the new normal.
We have done a lot of marketing. I think already you know the Zuru marketing strategy, where we have been encouraging Kenyans to Zuru our parks. Yeah, so that is one of the marketing strategies which is working very well for us. We are trying also to encourage our own people to now start visiting our bandas, the products.
KWS is also engaging in community projects and private-public projects in efforts to build a more inclusive industry, considering the impact of COVID-19 on vulnerable groups.
We have encouraged the communities to have their own small parks, what we call here the co-managed areas, and within the Shimoni Vanga seascape we have about 7 of them, where communities have come together to form their own park.
Tumeweza kusomesha watoto zaidi ya 85, ambapo huko nyuma wazazi wetu walikuwa hawajui muhimu wa elimu, na kikundi hichi kikaweza kuwasaidia kueleza mambo ya muhimu wa elimu.
They believe the road to recovery for tourism will require innovation and collaboration.
We are just trying to tell people to come, and we are also very strict in terms of observation of the COVID-19 protocols as laid down by the Ministry of Health, and it is working out for us very well. So we are encouraging people, and they're already coming, but we insist that's so long as you observe the the Ministry of Health regulation.
If you're looking for a place with magical views for a fun family adventure or just to relax, then the Last Village in Machakos County could be the place for you. At the tourist destination, sports activities such as archery, zip lining and biking are offered, as our reporter Mushama now highlights on tonight's episode of Magical Scenes.
Magical scenes in the county of Machakos.
Thank you, Mushuma, for that report. Now, all SACCOs will be regulated by the SACCO Society's Regulatory Authority, SASRA, if proposed amendments to the SACCO Act sail through. Agriculture and Cooperative Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya says there is need to have non-deposit taking SACCOs with an asset base of less than 100 million shillings regulated in efforts to secure depositors' savings.
The SACCO Society Regulatory Authority SASRA currently regulates SACCOs whose member savings are over 100 million shillings and include digital SACCOs and those that draw membership from the diaspora. Agriculture and Cooperative Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya says this mandate needs to be expanded to cover even SACCOs whose member savings are less than 100 million shillings to see loopholes for fraud and safeguard member savings. He says the national cooperative policy currently before Parliament seeks to regulate investment and housing cooperatives that the CS says are shrouded with fraudulent undertakings.
Looking at regulating cooperatives that are in the financial sector, instead of creating another agency to regulate those other cooperatives, it's better to widen the mandate of SASRA.
SASRA has been keen on licensing non-deposit SACCOs. So far, 25 non-deposit SACCOs with an asset base of more than 100 million shillings have been cleared by SASRA to operate from 157 that applied to be licensed.
Now we are telling the general public, if you want some financial services like a loan from a SACCO, go to those SACCOs that are complying. Don't go to the others that have refused to comply with the law. If you go there and you lose your money.
The regulator has given until September to non-deposit taking SACCOs to comply with the licensing or risk deregistration.
But for those of you who are remaining in that process, we will also work with you on that journey so that you also meet those compliance issues and you get certified.
Benson Roba reporting for Prime Edition.
Nissan Serena ndio hii, na unaweza kuwa wewe ndio tunapikia simu. Kodi ya Nissan Serena ni NS, alafu kisha kwenye amount ni 50 bob. Hii Nissan Serena tunakupatia na shilingi 50.
Kujiunga na QuickBid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio hununua. QuickBid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Please deposit this money into my account real quick.
May I know your account, please?
Michael Bakayoko. My account is 01826.
Thank you for banking with us.
It's my first time to bank. Could I ask how safe is my money? Or maybe I should just continue with my mattress banking. I think I should go back.
How are you, Mr. Bakayoko? How may I help you this time?
Well, I have come back to confirm the safety of my money. The one that I deposited earlier today.
Oh, I guess you haven't banked with us for some time. Now listen, whenever you deposit your money, be rest assured of its safety because you're a responsible bank which is a member of the KDIC. See that sticker there?
KDIC?
KDIC is mandated by law to provide insurance for your deposits.
Now I know. No more mattress banking.
Be sure
Check out for a KDIC sticker in your banking hall. KDIC, protecting your deposits.
I'm Cynthia Nyamai. Now, the media fraternity is tonight mourning the death of celebrated journalist and historian Hilary Boniface Mweno, the country's first Kenyan editor-in-chief. In the following report, the death of a media icon, veteran journalists celebrate the life of their senior colleague. Let us listen in.
Well, I remember the very first time I met Hilary Ngweno. I was at the School of Journalism, and the director at the time, his name is Mr. Mwaura, Dr. Mwaura now. He asked myself and a colleague, Peter, to go and see Hilary Ngweno. Hilary had asked for the 2 top students to go and see him for a job, and it was before we even did exams. So I remember walking to his office and really being overwhelmed, because at that time, and even until today, Hilary was such a revered figure.
I had just finished internship at The Nation. And on that Friday, I walked over to his offices at the Weekly Review. And I told him I finished my internship at Nation. I would like a job as a sub-editor. So he gave me a story, told me to go to the newsroom. I edited it. He told me to wait. 30 minutes later, he came back and told me, "You did well in the interview. When would you like to start?" I said, "Monday." And that's it.
It was what I call learning from the master. It was better than any university, any media school. And not just me, all the people I was working with at that time in the newsroom, 1986 onwards, none of them had been to journalism school. They learned from Hilary on the job. And of course, it was not just any journalism, but a superior journalism.
Most of us would remember Hilary Ngweno as a very keyed-in journalist, very deeply attuned to the stories of the day, a man of very sharp intellect, and very objective in his analysis.
What amazed me about him is that he had faith in us. We had just come from school, we just graduated, and he never doubted our ability. As you walked in, he just gave you an assignment, and he made you feel confident that you can do it.
He supported all of us to grow in our careers professionally and provided a conducive environment for that.
He helped to mentor me patiently, but also he could also be very rough. He is not the sort of person he tells you one thing today and then you make the same mistake again. He would have no patience with that.
He was very much in demand by all the movers and shakers in this country, government, diplomats, international organizations, but he absolutely was not part of the cocktail, what you call the cocktail circuit.
It's a bit of a contradictory life. You need to build connections and networks, but at the same time you don't want to expose yourself to them misusing you.
And what I think that he has left to this country is a legacy for telling the truth and doing high quality work.
He would come to the office very early and leave very late. He'd briefly go for lunch. He'd go to a place near City Market and then come back before 2 o'clock. He's back in the office and work.
Hilary lived for his work. In fact, his children remarked somewhere that the only day he rested was on Christmas Day.
For him, professionalism was key, integrity was key. And I think those are the things that that is how we grew up, what we learned from him, and that is what we have to keep emphasizing even today as we try to shape the careers of young journalists.
We are truly standing on shoulders of giants. Now, sports coming up next with Richard Munga.
Well, thank you, Cynthia, and of course, Hilary Ngweno. Forever rest in peace. Among the pioneers who made it possible for us young journalists to indeed practice. Rest in peace. Now, let's talk matters sports, whereby President Uhuru Kenyatta has said that his government is committed to maximizing the potential of young sportsmen and women in the country by investing heavily in the sporting industry. President Kenyatta assured of his commitment to the development of sports while flagging off the national Kenyan team that is set to compete in the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games that are set to begin on the 23rd of this month in Japan.
About 130 Kenyan sportsmen and women will represent the country at the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, which will be held from the 23rd of this month to 8th August, after being flagged off today by President Uhuru Kenyatta. The Kenyan contingent, which will leave the country in batches, will compete in more than 3 disciplines, with the hope of performing better in Tokyo than in Rio 5 years ago.
Sports in our country has also attracted the best talents and brought together personalities and professionals from across the country, and our values of hard work and service to the nation are deeply entrenched in our athletes. The 2020 Tokyo Olympics is another opportunity for us to promote these qualities that position us for success in the sporting world. And for this reason, my government has and will continue to support you as you take part in this year's Olympic competition.
President Kenyatta urged the athletes to overcome the coronavirus pandemic with better returns at the Games, postponed from last year, setting an example to the upcoming junior sportsmen and women who will follow in their footsteps following the government's heavy investment in the sporting industry.
This journey, unfortunately, has been characterized by the uncertainties due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which amongst other challenges resulted in the postponement of the Olympic Games last year. However, despite and even in the face of this pandemic, we have all remained confident in the abilities of our sportsmen and women, and our history in athletic competition is well known, our victories celebrated globally, and we are certain that this team will also bring the same glory to our country.
Malkia Strikers will be the first Kenyan team to land in Japan, with the other teams following, as they will be traveling in batches to contain the spread of the coronavirus. The Kenyan teams have been training in bubble camps, the same environment as in Japan.
Today I'm pleased to present to you the athletes who will be representing our country in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. They are a testimony of our collective resilience, and we are confident, Your Excellency, that they are well prepared and that they are all ready for the championship. Kenya will be sending a total of 113 athletes to this year's Olympics and Paralympic competitions. And we have put in place extensive measures to ensure their safety and their welfare.
Kenya finished 15th overall at the Rio Olympics in 2016 with a total of 13 medals, 6 gold, 6 silver and a single bronze medal. Barclay Feather, Prime Edition Sports.
The first teams, of course, to depart the country to Karume City is the Kenya National Rugby Sevens team. That is Shujaa, led by Captain Andrew Omonde. With the women's team, Lioness is leaving on Sunday. Funny fact, Andrew Omonde, captaining the Shujaa team, is also Team Kenya captain to the Tokyo Olympic Games. Now, elsewhere, Tusker FC maintained their lead on the Kenyan Premier League standings after producing a dazzling performance to beat reigning champions Gor Mahia 2-1 in a match that was played today at the Roraka grounds. Kenneth Muguna gave Kogalo the lead in the 14th minute before the Brewers grabbed an equalizer in the 54th minute. Tusker then sealed the win in the dying minutes of the game to remain top of the standings with 50 points after 23 3 league matches, while Kogalo are 4th on 39 points. In another match, Nzoia Sugar beat Bidco United by a solitary goal.
We played very well. It was a good game. The first half, we dominated the first half. The second half, I would like to confirm with the videos, but for me this is clear. It's not fault of the window, the free kick give goal, and it's not corner, this last one.
Kwa tumedrill kidogo but tuko up now. So tulirealize our mistakes. Na tumework very hard to kurudi mahali tulikuwa. After corona to slow down.
Well, that's all the time we have for sports tonight, but if Cynthia allows me, just an update. Sergio Ramos has been confirmed as the new Paris Saint-Germain defender on a 2-year deal. Remember, for all the sports updates, stay tuned in to KBC's subsequent bulletins, and you can also visit our website, www.kbc.co.ke. I'm Richard Munga. Do have a good night. Cynthia, back to you. Take it away.
Thank you, Munga. That sums up news for tonight. From me and my team, we want to say thank you for joining us and have a good night.
Asante sana mpenzi mtazamaji, mahali popote unanitizama. Kwa majina najulikana kama Mutumishi. Asante, yes. Ukiniita Mr. Quickbit tutakuwa tuko sawa. Kumbuka hapa kwenye Quickbit tunapeana bidhaa bora zaidi kwa bei ya chini kwa chini. Na ni wewe mwenyewe unaamua ukiwa mahali popote unanitizama ama unanisikiza. Ni rahisi sana. Ukumbuke tunapeana hapa bidhaa tofauti kuanzia kwa fridge. Tuko na kitchen combination, kitchen kettle, microwave, alafu tuko na non-stick sufuria ambayo ishiki chakula ama moshi na inapatikana tu hapa Quickbit. Tuko na TV, tuko na pikipiki, tuko na magari, tuko na masimu. My friend, ni rahisi sana. Chukua simu yako, lipa na M-Pesa, pay bill number 4032353 4032353, kisha unaenda kwenye account number, unakelea kodi ya bidhaa ambayo tunauza kwa siku. Amount kumbuka ni shilingi 20 bob peke yake, uponyoke na hizi bidhaa kwenye supermarket. My friend, na kuambia utapata hizi bidhaa na bei ya juu, lakini hapa kwenye Quickbit unaipata na bei bora zaidi na ni ya chini.